Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please check it. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Please confirm to me, guys. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Right. All right. Good morning, guys. And check what we completed there in the last session. And I think we are discussing about the differences between Java and others. We are discussing. In that, differences between Java and others, how many differences can we completed there? Overall, two differences we completed clearly. What are the two differences can we understood now? First one is C and C++ are static programming languages, whereas Java is what? Dynamic programming language. Tell me how C and C++ are static and Java is a dynamic in a single statement. No, Java is a following dynamic memory allocation. Means that in Java applications, memory will be allocated at a runtime, not at compilation time. In C and C++, static memory allocation is going on. What is the meaning of static memory allocation? In C and C++, memory will be allocated for the data at a compilation time. Leave it. Next one is we started with preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. That point we understood. You know already preprocessor is a tool existed in a compilation process. Then what is the job of this particular one? You know already in a C and C++, the complete predefined library is provided in the form of header files. To include header files in a C and C++ programs, we have to use hash include statements. When we compile a C program, preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements and the preprocessor will load the specified header files content to the memory. So preprocessor is required in a C and C++ to recognize hash include statements in order to load header files to the memory. In the case of Java, preprocessor is not required. Why preprocessor is not required in Java? Observe carefully. In the case of Java, the complete predefined library is provided in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. Examples for the packages are what? Java.io, Java.util, Java.sql, and so on. If we want to include these packages in a Java applications, there we have to use like what we have to use there. Directly we have to understand import statements. All right, sir. If we prepare any Java application and when we compile the Java program, compiler will recognize all the import statements. Compiler will check all the specified packages inside the Java software. If the packages are existed in the Java software, then compiler will not raise any error and compiler will not load any package content to the memory. If the specified packages are not existed inside the Java software, where definitely compiler will raise an error. So compiler is not responsible for loading predefined library to the memory. Okay, if compiler is not responsible to load the predefined library, then who will take the responsibility to load predefined library in Java applications now? Where the answer is what? Only JVM will take the responsibility to load predefined library to the memory. Only JVM will load will load the required predefined library, not even complete library. How much it required? Up to that only it able to load into the memory. Okay, fine. By this we can understand clearly C and C++ are following static loading, whereas Java is following dynamic loading. Observe carefully. Next one is after that, after understanding this particular topic here, what next one here I'm telling there. In Java, preprocessor is not required. Why? Because in Java, we don't have hash include statements and header files. In place of them, we have classes and interfaces and packages and import statements. Due to this reason, preprocessor is not required in the case of Java. The points we understood. Then immediately I given one important interview question to all of you guys. What was that important interview question here? I given there. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? What exactly the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Observe carefully. Few differences are given there. First one is what? Hash include statements are existed in C and C++, whereas import statements are existed in Java. Next one, hash include statements are able to include the predefined library existed in the form of header files, whereas import statements are able to include the predefined library existed in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. Next one is hash include statements are evaluated by preprocessor, whereas import statements are evaluated by evaluation in the sense executed by compiler and JVM. Hash include statements are supporting static loading, whereas import statements are supporting dynamic loading. If you want to load more than one header file, then we have to use multiple hash include statements. But if you want to load more than one class or interface of the same package, then it is sufficient to use single import statement. Right. So then after that we started already another important difference between C, C++ and Java. That is what? C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, whereas Java is a platform independent programming language. There are given some explanation already. All right, sir. Now let us understand this clearly. First of all, tell me when a programming language is a platform dependent programming language and when a programming language is a platform independent programming language. Right, sir. While giving this explanation, I'll give some dictation also. Try to take the dictation also clearly. The small one or two statements information. First of all, tell me when a programming language is platform dependent programming language. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, not on two different operating systems, then that programming language is what their platform dependent programming language. Write this information here. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called as platform dependent programming language. Right, sir. Read the statement and write that statement better. Okay. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called as platform dependent programming language. Examples are what? C and C++. Now, examples are what? C and C++. Right, guys? At a static mode, at the very starting, then I'll give the total dictation also. But once, if you are in track now, I'll give some material to you where everything I included there, then we can go with that. But anyway, then for our better understanding at a static mode, try to take some dictation part. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called as platform dependent programming language. Okay. How C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages? No. If we compile C application in a Windows operating system, if we compile C program in Windows operating system, then compiler will generate .exe file with the same Windows operating system representations. It will run under the same Windows operating system. It will run on the same Windows operating system. So C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages. That's it. If we compile C and C++ applications in Windows operating system, then compiler will generate .exe file with the same Windows operating system representations. It will run under the same Windows operating system. It will run under the same Windows operating system. So C and C++ are what? Platform dependent programming languages. Right, sir. Next one is, after that, I think all of you might be taken diagram. Have you taken the diagram there? Previously I given the diagram for platform dependent. Okay. Complete it. Tell me guys, all of you have taken diagram? If you have not taken diagram, I'll show that even diagram also. Better to take diagram if it is possible. YouTube. Yeah, this is a diagram, guys. Try to complete it. If you have not taken, try to complete it. Right, within 1 minute, I will complete the total part. Then today, after completion of this total dictation part, I will give one important interview question in this difference also. You'll understand the difference clearly. No need to worry for this. Make it fast. Right, sir. Complete it. Can I go for next one? And materials are existed, guys, regarding this course. Better to take that materials, then there everything is available. Of course, it is a chargeable. Contact our office there. They'll provide that materials to you. If all of you have taken materials, then I will not give this much of time for dictation part. Directly, I will explain the content. Everything is available inside the material. But why I'm giving dictation part initially, you're not having any resource for it, for the sake of your revision. That's why, as early as possible, if all of you are taking this material, then I'll go for explanation part. Right. Now, come for this next one here. What next one here? What is platform independent programming language? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation is on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language, is called as platform independent programming language. Platform independent programming language. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation is on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language is called as platform independent programming language. Okay. All right, sir. Example for this is what? Java. Example is what? Java. Example is Java. Okay. Example is Java. How Java is platform independent programming language. How can you say Java is a platform independent programming language? I'll give some points clearly. Understand it, no? If we compile Java application on Windows operating system, then compiler will generate dot class files. Compiler will generate dot class files where dot class files contains bytecode. Where dot class files contains bytecode, it is not directly executable code. It is an intermediate code, and it is not following any operating system representations, including Windows. Guys, you know already the point. I'll give that once again explanation. Don't worry for it, but try to complete the point here. So if we compile Java application on Windows operating system, then compiler will generate which files? No, dot class files, not dot exe. In the case of Java, only two types of files. What are the two types of files? No, dot Java and dot class. Before compilation, dot Java. After compilation, dot class files. Observe carefully. So whenever we are having dot class files, then what is there inside the dot class files? Inside the dot class files, we are having bytecode. Only bytecode is existed. It is not directly executable code. It is an intermediate code, and it is not following any operating system representations, including Windows. It is not following any operating system representations, including Windows. Understand my point clearly? Windows representations are also be not existed here. Okay, fine. Here, what is the point I'm telling there? If you want to run neutral bytecode in any, if you want to run neutral bytecode in any operating system, then that neutral bytecode, must be converted to the respective operating system representations. That means if we compile Java application on Windows operating system, then a compiler will generate dot class files, where dot class files contains bytecode. It is not a directly executable code. It is an intermediate code, and it is not following any operating system representations, including Windows. If you want to run neutral bytecode in any operating system, then that neutral bytecode must be converted to the respective operating systems. Right, sir. 2 minutes of time, sir. I'll complete this part here, then I will go for next point explanation clearly. Right, let us complete this point also clearly. So respective operating system representations. Clear? The next one is what? Then after that, after completion of this, what's the point I'm giving there? Alright, sir. In the above context, to convert bytecode from, or to convert bytecode to the local operating system representations, to convert bytecode to the local operating system representations, and to execute that converted bytecode, Java software has provided a tool called as JVM. That means, what is the tool, guys? What is the responsibility of the JVM in Java applications? Only two responsibilities. First one is what? Conversion, and second one is what? Execution. Converting bytecode to the native code. Native code in the sense local operating system represented bytecode, and executing that bytecode. They are the two responsibilities of JVM that we can understand clearly. Right, sir. In the above context, to convert bytecode to the local operating system representations and to execute that converted bytecode, Java software has provided a tool called as JVM. What is this JVM actually? Java Virtual Machine. One more point I'm telling to you, clearly understand this, no type of point here. Java is a platform independent programming language. Java is a platform independent programming language because of JVM only. But what is this JVM, guys? Now tell me. But JVM is a platform dependent or platform independent? But JVM is a platform dependent. JVM is platform dependent. So here one more note I'm telling there. Not only JVM, the complete Java software is a platform dependent. Not only JVM, the complete Java software is what? Their platform dependent. Not only JVM, the complete Java software is what? Platform dependent. That's it. So these conclusions we understood in the last sessions, I think so, up to this part. Okay. Once again, I'm requesting to everybody, if all of you are having materials, then I will not go for this much of dictation inside the classes. No, please try to take within 1 or 2 days of time, try to take that materials which are available in our office there. Why? Because if I do typing this much of time, so might be course duration is going to be increased. So no, I don't want to go for this much of dictation inside the class. Every minute of the class, I'm trying to utilize for explanation. Explanation is important for us. Understanding level is important. So writing the notes, maximum try to avoid it inside the class. But I'll provide alternative. I'm trying to provide in the material. In material, everything is available. Try to collect that material so that our work will be very simple. Every day, half of the time, if you put for dictation part, no, is unnecessarily time waste for us. So, try to take that content. Try to take this one. Not available. All right. All right, sir. Now, I will show the diagram also. I'll show the diagram also. Now, try to. All of you completed this data? Okay. Can I open diagram? Take this diagram also there. Guys, for online students, that material will be provided as a soft copy. For online students, material will be provided as a soft copy. Now try to collect it. Yeah, material is existed there as a soft copy for online students. Okay. Has completed. Take it. ఇప్పటిదాకా ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? All right, sir. If you're taking this, then I'll go for the next point. So where we have an important interview question, guys. In this case, what is that important interview question? As you have seen already, .exe file in C and C++, and as we have seen already, dot class files in Java. There we have a question like, what exactly the difference between, what exactly the differences between .exe file and dot class file? Definitely this question we will expect for the freshers. Right, in the point of freshers, you'll expect this type of question here. Now tell me, what exactly the differences between .exe file and dot class files? Right. Let us see these differences clearly. .exe files and dot class files. If you observe this, tell me guys, what do you know about this one? First point is, in which languages these files are existed? If you observe this point, no. .exe files are existed in C and C++. Am I right or not? .exe files are existed in C and C++. Whereas .class files are existed in Java. That point we already aware. Okay, fine. Next one is what? After that, after understanding this particular point here, after understanding this particular content, second one is what .exe file is able to do, what .class file is able to have. If we come for this point, answer is very clear. .exe file is able to have directly executable code. .exe file contains directly executable code, whereas .class files contains an intermediate code, that is bytecode actually. .class files contains which code? No, bytecode. That is an intermediate code. It is an intermediate code. It is not directly executable code. Then after that, in other words, we can say one more point. What is that another point here? We can observe carefully. Class files, that means .exe files are platform dependent, whereas .class files are platform independent. They are not dependent on the any of the operating system representations. Understand it clearly what I'm telling you now. So they are the three major differences here we can understand. Come again, what exactly the differences here we understood there? First one is what? What is that first difference here we understand there? Tell me guys, what is that first difference here? Now here the question is what? What are the differences between .exe file and .class file? This is a question, guys. Then what will be the answer for this question here? All of you observe carefully. What will be the answer for this question here? The first one is like what? No. .exe files are existed in C and C++. Okay, fine. Then what next one here? No. .class files. .class files are existed in Java. That's okay. This is first difference. Second one is what now? .exe files. .exe files contains executable code directly executable code. Executable code. That means no conversions are required. Directly we can execute this .exe file. But whereas .class files contains bytecode. Directly we can understand bytecode. It is not directly executable code. It is not directly executable code. Then what is this actually? It is an intermediate code. It's an intermediate code. Observe carefully. It's not directly executable code. It's an intermediate code. Next one is .exe file. .exe file is a platform dependent. .exe file is platform dependent, whereas .class file is a platform independent. .exe file is like what? Their platform independent. Right, sir. They are the major differences. No, three differences are existed here. Then one more point here I'm telling to you. Fourth one is .exe files will provide lesser security, but whereas .class files will provide more security. In two types here we can understand the security point. No, .exe files will provide lesser security, whereas .class files will provide more security. Why? Because in general the difference is in the relative comparison, C and C++ are lesser secured programming languages when compared with Java, but Java is a somewhat more secured programming language when compared with what? C and C++. That is one angle in general. Another point is what? If we observe in outside also, as per our general knowledge, what I'm telling to you, majority of the viruses related softwares will be provided in the form of .exe files. In general, majority of the viruses related softwares will be provided. That is, it is very easy to inject viruses through .exe files. But in general, virus related softwares will not come in the form of like what? No, .class files. Even in that way also we can understand .exe files are lesser secured files, whereas .class files are like what? They're more secured files. Okay guys, then finally what we completed here, totally, then one difference here we understood there. C and C++ are what? Platform dependent programming languages, and whereas Java is what? Platform independent programming language. Then now tell me, Java is a platform independent programming language, that we understood. But what about JVM and Java compiler? Java compiler and JVM both are what? Both are platform dependent. Not only JVM and Java compiler, the total Java software is what? There platform dependent. Observe carefully. So they are the main points here we understood that. Now let's understand this next point here. So this difference we completed anyway. After this point here, the next topic, the next fourth difference, I think so we are understanding fourth difference. What about this fourth difference here? All of you observe carefully guys. Pointers are existed in a C and C++. Pointers are existed in C and C++, but pointers are not existed in Java. But pointers are not existed in Java. This is another important difference for us. We have to understand it clearly. Pointers are existed in C and C++, whereas pointers are not existed in Java. Right? Pointers are existed in C and C++, but whereas pointers are not existed in Java. Okay. Right, sir. Before understanding pointers are existed in C, C++, and Java, before understanding, first of all, what is a pointer variable? What is the nature of the pointer variable? Then after that, we have to think why they are existed in C and C++ and why they are not existed in Java. Let's understand this content clearly. First of all, tell me guys, what is pointer variable? Any idea? What exactly the meaning of pointer variable? What is pointer variable actually? Any idea? Right. In general, variables are able to store data. Am I right or not? In general, variables are able to store data. For example, int envo is equal to 111. If I provide int envo is equal to 111, if I provide no, then it able to store data directly. All of you observe carefully. Int envo is equal to 111. Here what is variable actually? Envo is a variable. Here envo is a variable. Am I right or not? Envo is a variable. It stores what data actually? It stores 111 data. In general, we are using variables to store data. Okay. But what pointer variables are able to do? No. What exactly the meaning of pointer variable? Pointer is a variable. Observe carefully. Pointer is a variable. Then what it able to store? No. It able to store. It able to store address locations of the data structures. It able to store address locations of the data structures. Where what is that address location actually? What is that data structure actually? Where data structures may be a variable. Variable is also we can take it as a data structure, or maybe an array, or maybe in the case of C programming language, it may be a struct, or maybe any other pointer variable. Maybe any other pointer variable. That's it. This is the meaning of like what now? A pointer variable. Tell me guys, what is the meaning of this pointer variable? Pointer is a variable. It able to store address locations of the data structures, where data structures may be a variable, an array, a structure, or any other pointer variable. Let's see some declaration parts here. Let's see some declaration parts about this particular point here. Observe carefully guys, all of you know. Let's see some declaration parts. All of you observe carefully. For example, I'll declare the pointer variable like this. For example, int a is equal to 10, or maybe int a is equal to, I want to write 50, for example. Int a is equal to 50. Int a is equal to 50. That's it. Observe carefully, int a is equal to 50. Next one is, this is normal variable. A is a variable, normal variable, which stores like what value there? 50. Next one is int star p semicolon. What is this actually? Int star p semicolon. Whenever I declare that p variable with a star, it represents what? Pointer variable. It represents what? Pointer variable. Observe carefully. Int star p. Okay, fine. Whenever we are having int star p as a pointer variable, now to that pointer variable, I want to assign address of a. Address of a, if you want to represent, we can use that %a. Star p is equal to, that means p is equal to %a. So pointer variable is able to store only what there? Address of a. Understand my point clearly? So this is what exactly the declaration here I provided about this pointer variable. This is the declaration here we provided there about pointer variable. Got it or not? Now all of you observe carefully guys. When I compile this piece of code, what's going to be happen actually? What will happen if I compile this piece of code? What will happen there? When in case of C and C++, when a compiler encounter this particular intersection into a is equal to 50, immediately compiler will assign 2 bytes of memory for integer. Compiler will assign how much memory there? 2 bytes of memory for integer, right? Where the data is what? 50. That 50 is the data that will be stored, right sir? Now at the time of storing this 50, observe carefully, for a variable, one address location might be existed. We can understand 1010 is address location for a variable. Its value is like what there? 50. Guys, all of you are getting my point or not? Okay, fine. This is going to be happen when compiler encounter this particular intersection. Next one, after that, int star p. Int star p. When compiler recognized this int star p here, for example, what's the meaning of this int star p actually? Its meaning is int star p in the sense pointer variable. So compiler will provide pointer variable. It has some memory allocation also. Compiler will provide some memory also for the pointer variable. How much memory is required to store address locations? Then it able to accommodate. It able to provide some memory. That's okay, fine. when a compiler encounter this particular intersection, p is equal to ampersand a. Ampersand a in the sense like what, no, address location of a, then that value will be assigned to p variable. So that address location of a will be provided to p variable. That means 1010. That is what, 1010. Observe carefully. 1010. That's okay, fine. Then immediately what happened there? Internally, this p variable is storing address of a. So literally we can represent that p is referring a variable or not. P is referring a variable or not, a variable location or not. So p is pointing to a variable location. P is pointing to a variable location. Now this is going on when we compile a C program if we use pointer variables clearly. Get my point or not? Now, after understanding what exactly the meaning of pointer variable, after understanding what exactly the meaning of pointer variable, what's the meaning of pointer variable? Now we are going to see why pointers are existed in C and C++, why pointers are not existed in Java. Let's understand some points here. Tell me guys, now this might be the question actually. This is a question here. Why pointers are not existed in Java? What are the problems here? Internally, we can understand like what why pointers are exist in C and C++ also. I'll give some reasons to you. Try to observe these reasons clearly. Point number one. Guys, all of you answer for my question. Point number one. Now tell me, in C and C++, who is providing allocation for the pointer variables? That is memory allocation for the pointer variables. Who has provided that? Is it compiler or C engine? At what time pointers are getting memory allocation, at a compilation time or not? Pointers are getting memory allocation at a compilation time or not? Means that pointer variables are required static memory allocation. Pointer variables are required. Pointer variables required what? Static memory allocation. Pointer variables required static memory allocation. Am I right or not? Static memory allocation. But Java is following what? Now tell me. Java is following what? Java is following static memory allocation or dynamic memory allocation? Dynamic memory allocation. But Java is following dynamic memory allocation. Remember this point here clearly. What is the first point here I given there? Pointer variables required static memory allocation, but Java is following dynamic memory allocation. So because of this reason, we can conclude that pointers are not existed in Java. Right? All of you understand the first point? What is this first point, guys? Now tell me. Pointer variables required. Which memory allocation? Static memory allocation. But Java is following what? Dynamic memory allocation. So pointers are not existed in Java. This is one point. Next one is, observe carefully. That means the same extension of the same point. Same point in other way I'm talking. No. Pointer variables are supported by static programming languages. Pointer variables are supported by static programming languages, but Java is what? Java is a dynamic programming language. Java is a dynamic programming language. Same point. First point and second points are same, but I given as a separate point here. Don't worry for it. Alright, sir. Pointer variables require static memory allocation, but Java is following dynamic memory allocation. Pointer variables are supported by static programming languages, but Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Right, sir. Next, other points here we can observe carefully. Another point is like what now? You know already platform dependent programming languages and platform independent programming languages. Am I right? Already we are aware about platform dependent programming languages and platform independent programming languages. So here the point is what? Pointer variables are supported by platform dependent programming languages. Platform dependent programming languages. But Java is what, guys? Now tell me. But Java is a platform independent programming language. Platform independent programming language. So because of this reason also, we can conclude pointer variables are not suitable in a Java programming language. Okay, what is the third point here I given there? Pointer variables are supported by platform dependent programming languages, but Java is what their platform independent programming language. But Java is a platform independent programming language. Because of this reason also, we can understand pointers are not existed in Java. That is one point. Observe carefully, guys, what I'm telling you now. All right, sir. Next one is, observe carefully. Observe carefully. All of you, observe carefully. In C and C++, pointer variables are existed. How these pointer variables are existed? In two forms that pointer variables are existed. One is single level pointer, another one is multi-level pointers. Single level pointer, another one is what? Multi-level pointer. What is this a single level pointer actually? Directly pointer variable is referring data of the address location of the data, directly reference to address location of the data. But multi-level pointers are existed. What are these multi-level pointers actually? One pointer variable is referring another pointer variable, another pointer variable is referring some other pointer variable, some other pointer variable is referring some other pointer variable, and finally data. Answer my point here. Multi-level pointers are existed. One pointer variable is referring another pointer variable, another pointer variable is referring some other pointer variable, some other pointer variable is referring some other pointer variable, and so on and so on and so on. So like these multi-levels are available. Good. And overall, what I am telling to you, in the case of multi-level pointer variables, if that multi-levels are 1 level, 2 level, 3 level, okay, we can trace it and we can identify which pointer is for which reference, that we can understand easily. In the case if we go for higher levels, maybe 6th level, 7th level, 10th level, if we go there, definitely we are going to lose our control over the pointer variables. We're about to trace the which pointer is for which location. We are going to lose our control. We are unable to trace it. Which pointer variable is referring which pointer variable, or which pointer variable is referring data, definitely is somewhat difficult for us, where confusion will be generated. Observe carefully. So altogether, what I am telling to you clearly, pointers is a bit confusion oriented feature. Pointers is what? Is a bit confusion oriented feature. But Java is a simple programming language, you know. But Java is what? A simple programming language. So Java does not allow all the confusion oriented features. So Java is available, and in the previous programming languages some confusion oriented features are existed. So Java does not allow all the confusion oriented features, as it was a simple programming language. Because of this reason also we can conclude pointers are not suitable, not existed in the case of Java programming language, as Java is a simple programming language, as a pointers are a bit confusion oriented features. So here the fourth point is like what I am telling to you, pointers is a bit confusion oriented. Pointers is a bit confusion oriented feature. Pointers is a bit confusion oriented feature, but Java is a simple programming language. But Java is a simple programming language. It does not allow pointers in its programming. Right, guys? So overall, these are the differences here we understood. Not differences actually. Why pointers are not suitable in the case of Java? Here we provided some points. Again, all right, I'm asking these questions to all of you guys. Now try to answer for it. All of you know why pointers are not suitable in Java, why pointers are suitable in C and C++. That's the question. So nearly 4 answers are given there. What are the 4 answers are given there? Now tell me, what is the first answer here we understood there? Now tell me, pointer variables are required. Which memory allocation? Static memory allocation. But Java is following what? Dynamic memory allocation. So pointers are not suitable in Java. Now tell me, pointers are suitable in C and C++ or not? Why? Because C and C++ are following which memory allocation? Static memory allocation. So pointers are suitable in C and C++. That's okay, fine. Second point is what? Similar extension of the same point. No, pointer variables are supported by static programming languages, but Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Java is what? A dynamic programming language. So here the point is what? Java is a dynamic programming language, but pointers are supported by static programming languages. So pointers are not suitable in Java. But pointers are suitable in C and C++ or not? How can you say pointers are suitable in C and C++? No, C and C++ are what? Static programming languages. Nice. Next one. Pointer variables are supported by platform dependent programming languages. But Java is what? Java is a platform independent programming language. Observe this carefully. Java is a platform independent programming language, but pointer variables are supported by platform dependent programming languages. So pointers are not available inside the Java. But pointers are suitable in C and C++ or not? Why? Because C and C++ are what? Their platform dependent programming languages. Next one is a general knowledge question only. In general, pointers is a bit confusion oriented feature, but Java is a simple programming language which does not allow that all the confusion oriented features. So because of these reasons, we can conclude that pointers are not existed in Java, but pointers are existed in C and C++. Guys, observe carefully. If we give this much of answer for my question, why pointers are required in C and C++, why pointers are not required in Java, why they are not exist in Java? If as this question you may ask, you may give these many answers, no? But even if we give this many number of answers here, but I can ask one more question to you on the basis of this particular one. What exactly the question here I'm trying to ask to you? Guys, all of you observe carefully my question. Everybody understand this, no? In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory. In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory. That's why it is a pointer variable. That's why this variable is what? Pointer variable. Am I right or not? Okay, fine. Next, observe carefully. Similarly, what I am telling to you, in the case of Java, we have a class A. In Java programming, we are going to write with what? Their classes. In Java, we are writing programming with what? No, classes. Of course, inside these classes, we are going to provide some declaration part. Some declarations here we are able to provide. That's okay, fine. Now, whenever we declare the classes, no, we are going to create objects for the classes. In general, in Java, we are going to create objects for the classes. Okay, fine. Observe carefully. When I create object for the class by using this statement, what is an object actually? Object is not any other one. It's a memory block, simply a memory block. Object is a memory block. Observe carefully. All right, sir. Now, when we create an object, now this is an object actually. This is an object. So, especially when we execute this right side part, new and new A constructor, when we execute this right part, automatically a block of memory will be created. That is called as an object. Now here, that object is referred by a variable. That object is referred by a variable, A variable. A variable is referring that particular object, that particular block of memory. Now observe carefully. In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory. That's why this variable is called as what? Their pointer variable. Similarly, in Java also, when we create an object, a variable is referring a block of memory. A variable is referring a block of memory. So whenever a variable is referring a block of memory in Java, why don't we call this as a pointer variable? And how can we say pointers are not existing in Java? Why we are not calling it as a pointer variable? Then how can we say pointers are not existing in Java? Same thing is available in the case of C and C++. In the case of C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory. So this variable is a pointer variable. In the case of Java, when we create an object for a particular class, here also a variable is referring a block of memory. So why we are not calling this variable as a pointer variable? And how can I say pointers are not existed in Java? Of course, I'm telling to you, in Java, this is a reference variable. This is which variable? No, reference variable. In the case of C and C++, this is which variable? No, pointer variable. Observe carefully. This is pointer variable. Now in Java, this is what? No, reference variable. So here my question is, are these reference variables are same as pointer variables or not? If they are same as pointer variables, how can you say pointers are not exist in Java? Content is very same. Concept is very same. Pointer variable is referring a block of memory. Similarly, in the case of Java, reference variable is also referring a block of memory. So concept is very same. So, but how can you say pointers are available in C and C++? Pointers are not existing in Java. How can you say the reference variables are different from pointer variables? So this type of question that interviewer may ask to you. But where we have to give right answer, perfect answer we have to provide there. But if you want to give right answer for this particular point, there we have to understand the difference between pointer variable and the reference variable. There we have to understand that exact difference between pointer variable and reference variable. Not only that, there we have to understand how reference variables are creating inside the Java, how objects are created inside the Java. If you know that, automatically this topic is very, very simple for us. So here the point is what? I know how pointers are doing inside the C and C++ as per our awareness. Now I need to understand how reference variables are created in Java. If you want to know how reference variables are created in Java, we have to understand how objects are created inside the Java. If you know how objects are created inside the Java, then it is very simple to understand what is reference variable. After that, it is very simple for us to understand how reference variables are different from pointer variables. Then we can give the conclusion pointers are not available inside the Java. So our topic is what we have to discuss there, how objects are created inside the Java. That point here we have to understand clearly. Guys, next 10 to 15 minutes of time. The topic is very, very important. Everybody put more concentration here. Don't deviate. The content is very, very important. I'm going to talk how reference variables are created, how object is going to be created inside the Java. Of course, this topic once again we will get in object orientation. This topic once again we will get in object orientation. Understand it, guys? What I'm telling you now. In OOPS concepts again I will discuss with you how objects are going to be created. But at present we have to understand how objects are created as per our requirement. In the comparison with the pointer variables, how reference variables are created. After that I'm going to talk with you the next 10 to 15 minutes of time. Try to put more concentration about our content. All of you ready for it? No response, guys. I think today there is a festival, I think so. What is that festival? No festival? No festival? Raksha Bandhan. Today or tomorrow? Today only. Shall we celebrate inside the classroom? Huh? If I ask this question yesterday, might be today nobody will come to the class, I think so. Huh? Right, guys? Nice. Observe careful. Anyway, the topic is important. Put more concentration. For example, in Java, actually, I used to see one thing in outside also. Maybe every day when I'm walking towards to this institute, then in general I used to walk while coming to the institute. Actually, I don't want to take any vehicle. Actually, I want to walk. I like to walk. So whenever I'm walking there, meanwhile, besides the road, number of hostels are going on. Actually, I'm repeating the sense full of hostels only. Some girls hostels are existed. See, every day I used to see minimum 5 to 6 members boys in front of the girls hostels in general. But today I want to check how many boys are standing in front of the girls hostels now. The situation is same or like any different. I want to check it today. Huh? Observe carefully. Right now, I want to take as is the class A, where some variables and methods I am going to declare inside this. Not required, which variables and which methods, just a class is required. Some variables and methods here we are declaring inside this particular one. Right, sir. Now here, I want to create a class. I created class already. Now I want to create an object for the respective class. Object for the respective class. A small a is equal to new a. Blindly we can understand this is a statement we are using to create an object. This is a statement we are using to create an object. Object creation statement, that what we provided. Okay, good. Now all of you understand, guys, what I'm telling to you now. This is an object creation statement what we are having. That's okay, fine. Now tell me, who will execute this Java code? Who is responsible to execute our Java code? Now tell me. No response. Who is executing Java code? Already we understood clearly. JVM. JVM is responsible to execute Java code. Am I right or not? Okay, now JVM wants to execute this particular Java code. This is JVM. This is JVM. JVM wants to execute this Java code. Okay, fine. Before this JVM executing this Java code, I would like to give one more point. To create objects, object is nothing but memory block. To create objects, we need some memory or not? In every programming language requires some memory or not? Memory or not to store its data. Similarly, in Java also, one type of memory we are going to use. What is the type of the memory here we are going to use in the case of Java? The type of memory is heap memory. The type of memory is what there? Heap memory. We are going to use heap memory. We are using heap memory in Java applications. There is a specialty with this heap memory. What is this heap memory actually? It is a dynamic memory. What is this heap memory actually? It is a dynamic memory. What is this dynamic memory? You know, what is the meaning of dynamic memory? It allocates and deallocates memory for the objects at a runtime, not at compilation time. Dynamic memory allocation. At runtime only, memory will be allocated for the data. Data in the sense objects only. Okay, heap memory we will use. To manage this total heap memory, to control this total heap memory, one person will be provided. One separate person is provided. That person is what? Heap manager. One manager is provided to manage this total heap memory. Now, that person is what they know? Heap manager. Observe carefully. The characters are very, very important here. To execute Java program, we require a person. Who is this person actually? JVM. And we are going to use a memory in Java for the objects creation for the sake of storing the data. That memory is a heap memory. And to store this heap memory, we required to manage this heap memory, we required one more manager. That manager is what? No, heap manager. Okay, up to now it's very clear. Observe carefully, guys, all of you know. Everybody understand this clearly. When JVM executes this particular intersection, which intersection there? Especially new and A class constructor. This part is called as constructor. Anyway, this new keyword. When JVM executes this new keyword, immediately JVM asks to the heap manager about to create an object. JVM will send a request to create an object. JVM will send a request to create object. All right, sir. When JVM is submitting a request to the heap manager, what heap manager is able to do now? Heap manager will check the availability of the memory as per the JVM requirement. How much memory is required? It will identify the memory size and it will check the availability of the memory. When this memory block is identified, whenever the continuous memory block is identified for the JVM requirement, then immediately heap manager will create a block of memory as an object for the JVM requirement. Heap manager will assign a block of memory as an object for the JVM requirement. Observe carefully. Now heap manager has created this block of memory in heap memory. Now tell me, this total thing is going on at runtime or at compilation time now? This memory allocation is going on at compilation time or at runtime? Who is executing our program? JVM. JVM is related to compilation time or execution time? Execution time. JVM is at runtime, not at compilation time. This memory allocation is going on at what time? Runtime, not at compilation time. Okay, fine. Now this is an object. Object is created by heap manager. Now answer for my question now, all of you guys. In Java applications, how many objects are creating? How many objects we are going to create? Do you have any restriction on number of objects in Java applications? That means only one object we are creating in for Java applications or multiple objects. Depending on our requirement, any number of objects we are creating or not. More and more number of objects we are creating or not. Depending on our requirement, we are creating any number of objects or not. Say for example, I want to represent 100 employees. I will declare class employee only one class, but I can create 100 number of objects. Student is available, 100 number of students I can create. Account is available, hundreds of accounts, thousands of accounts I have to create. So thousands of objects we have to create, hundreds of objects we have to create. Am I right or not? So definitely we are going to create more and more number of objects with respect to Java programming. Now tell me, in the case, if we are having more and more number of objects, if we are having more and more number of objects inside the heap memory, there we have to recognize each and every object individually or not. There we have to separate each and every object individually or not. Come on guys, we have to understand this point now. You're all sitting in front of me. How can I recognize each and every person individually? How can I recognize each and every person individually? I need your identity or not? I need that individual person's identity or not? Then what is your identity? Your name is an identity. Your name is what? Is an identity for all of you. Am I right or not? So here, what is the point I'm telling to you? Similarly, whenever we are having multiple objects inside the heap memory, to recognize each and every object, that each and every object must have its own identity. Each and every object must have its own identity. Without that identity, we are unable to call that object. We are unable to keep the data inside that object. We are unable to delete the data from that object. We are unable to update the data inside that object whenever we are not having identity for the respective object. So definitely here, identity is mandatory or not? Identity is required or not? No response, guys. You have to open your mouth. Otherwise, content is going on with a dull mode. Important topic I'm telling this. So definitely each and every object required what? Identity. Right. Whenever heap manager has created this object inside the heap memory, then immediately heap manager will assign an unique identity in the form of an integer value. Heap manager will assign an unique identity in the form of an integer value. Here we provided the integer value is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That unique identity provided by heap manager in the form of an integer value, that identity is called as hash code of the object. What is this one? Hash code. What is this hash code actually? Hash code is an unique identity provided by heap manager for each and every object. Hash code is an unique identity provided to the object by heap manager when it gets created. When it was created, automatically heap manager will provide an unique identity for this object. That unique identity is called as what? No, hash code of the object. That unique identity is called as what? Hash code of the object. 1 minute, guys. Right now, whenever unique identity is created, whenever a hash code value is created, that hash code value was taken by heap manager, and that hash code value was given to JVM. Whatever the hash code value was provided by heap manager, that would be submitted to JVM. That is like what? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what JVM is doing now? JVM is converting this hash code value into its hexadecimal form. JVM is converting its hash code value into its hexadecimal form. Say for example, AB56. AB56 is an hexadecimal form of the hash code that JVM has converting like what their hash code to hexadecimal form. All right, sir. Now observe carefully what exactly the hexadecimal form of hash code that is converted by JVM. This hexadecimal form of the hash code is called as reference value of the object. Hexadecimal form of the hash code is called as what? Reference value of the object. Whenever this reference value is created, JVM will assign that reference value to a variable. JVM will assign that reference value to a variable. Now we can observe carefully that AB56 value is provided to this variable. Now this variable is called as reference variable. Now this variable is called as like what there? Reference variable. Everybody understand this point clearly? So whenever hash code value is created by heap manager will send the dash code value back to the JVM. Now JVM is converting the dash code value into its hexadecimal form. So where hexadecimal form of hash code is called as reference value of the object. That reference value will be assigned to a variable. That variable is called as like what there? Reference variable. Reference variable. Right? This is the total internal flow. Guys, observe carefully what exactly the internal flow here I'm telling to you. Understand this. Once again, 2 minutes of time I will explain to you again. Now try to observe carefully. Now, first of all, why I'm discussing this total concept, guys? Now tell me, what is the requirement to discuss about this total point? No, our question is what is our actual question there? In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory. So that variable is what? Pointer variable. Similarly, in the case of Java, when we create an object for a particular class, there also be a variable is referring a block of memory. Here block of memory is nothing but object. Block of memory is nothing but what? An object. So in the case of Java also, a variable is referring a block of memory. So why don't we call it as a pointer variable? How can you say pointers are not existed in Java? That is actual question here. Further question, what is the answer I given there? If you want to answer for this question, we have to understand in Java, a variable is referring a block of memory when we create an object. So that variable is called as a reference variable. So indirectly the question is what? What exactly the differences between pointer variable and a reference variable? That is a question here. What is the difference between pointer variable and reference variable? If you want to differentiate pointer variable and reference variable, internally we have to understand how reference variables are created, how object is created inside the Java. If you know that point, then easily we can differentiate pointer variable and a reference variable clearly. Yes, sir, all of you are okay or not? Right, now observe carefully how objects are created in Java. How objects are creating inside the Java. Let's observe this clearly. I have taken class A. Here I have taken. Then after that I created object for class A small a is equal to new A. Good. Who will execute this Java instructions? No, JVM I have taken. Next one is what here? In Java, we are using one type of memory. What is the type of memory we are using there? Heap memory. To control this total heap memory, one manager is existed. That manager is what? Heap manager. Okay, fine. Now, when JVM executes this particular object creation statement, a small a is equal to new a constructor, especially new keyword. When JVM executes this new keyword, immediately JVM will request to the heap manager about to create an object. JVM will request to the heap manager about to create an object. Then heap manager will check the memory availability in the heap memory. If that memory is available, it will assign a block of memory for this particular object. Block of memory for this particular object. Guys, observe carefully. Object is a block of memory or not? Don't think object is a variable. No, the statement is wrong. Object is a variable. No, this A is not object. This A is a variable referring an object. That object is created inside the heap memory. Object is a block of memory. Whenever this object is created, then immediately heap manager has to provide an unique identity for each and every object, especially for this object. So that heap manager has provided an identity for this particular object in the form of an integer value. That integer value is called as what? Hash code of the object. Hash code of the object. When a hash code value is created, then heap manager will take the hash code value and heap manager will assign the hash code value back to the JVM. Now what JVM is doing now? JVM is converting the hash code value into its hexadecimal form. Hexadecimal form of hash code is called as what? The reference value of the object. Whenever reference value of the object is created, that reference value will be assigned to a variable. That variable is called as what now? Reference variable. Now again, if I ask a question to you, what is reference variable? If I ask this question to you, what will be the answer here? What is reference variable? If I ask this question to you, what exactly your answer here? No, reference variable is a variable which stores reference value of the object. What is reference variable here? Reference variable is a variable. It is able to store reference value of the object. What is the reference value of the object actually? Reference value of the object is hexadecimal form of hash code. What is that reference value? Hexadecimal form of hash code. Then what is hash code here? No, hash code is an integer value. Hash code is an unique identity. It is an integer value provided by heap manager. Hash code is an unique identity provided by heap manager. That hash code value is an unique identity for each and every object. 100 objects are created. For each and every object, a separate unique identity is created. So that unique identity provided by heap manager in the form of an integer value is called as what? Reference, sorry, hash code of the object. Guys, now observe carefully. In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory by storing address location. So that variable is pointer variable. In C and C++, a variable is referring a block of memory by storing its address location. That variable is what? Pointer variable. But in the case of Java, a variable is referring a block of memory by storing object reference value. A variable is referring a block of memory by storing object reference value. So that variable is called as what? Reference value. Reference variable. That reference variable holds object reference value. Object reference value in the sense hexadecimal form of hash code. Hash code is an integer value provided by heap manager. Now tell me, is that hash code value is any address location? Is that hash code value is any address location? No, it's a random integer value. Is that reference value is any address location? No, it's hexadecimal form of the hash code. So in the case of Java, a variable, a reference variable is referring the block of memory by storing reference value of the object, not by storing any address location. Please remember this. In the case of Java, no manipulations are available with the address locations. We are not going to deal with address locations in the case of Java. Of course, in the case of C and C++, we are going to deal with address locations. We have some activities with address locations in C and C++, but in the case of Java, no concept related to address locations. Even reference variables are also be not storing address locations. Reference variables are storing object reference value. Object reference value is a hexadecimal form of object reference value is a hexadecimal form of hash code. That hash code is an integer value provided by heap manager to identify these objects individually. So hash code value is not address location, reference value is not address location. Because of this reason, pointer variables and reference variables are not same. Pointer variables are different, reference variables are different. Get my point or not? Clearly no. Pointer variables are different and the reference variables are also be different clearly. So this is what exactly the meaning of like pointer variables and the reference variables clearly know. Then immediately we have an interview question, guys, clearly. Here we are getting one important interview question. What is that interview question? No? After understanding this total explanation here, please open your books, guys. Why you closed it? Still 10 more minutes time is available, right? Right. Then what exactly the difference between, what are the differences between pointer variables and reference variables? What are the differences between pointer variables and reference variables? Right, sir. What are the differences between pointer variables and reference variables? Right, sir. Now, what is the first difference? Now, tell me, in which programming languages pointers are existed? In which programming languages reference variables are existed? Observe carefully. Pointer variables are existed in C and C++, whereas reference variables are existed in Java. That's okay, fine. And the second point is what? What is that second difference here? Pointer variables are able to refer a block of memory by storing address locations. Pointer variables are able to refer a block of memory by storing address locations. Next one is reference variables are able to refer a block of memory, a block of memory. Inside the block of memory, we can say objects. By storing objects reference value. Now here I'll give one note here. What is this note now? Object reference value is the hexadecimal form of hash code, where hash code is an unique identity. Hash code is an unique identity provided by heap manager in the form of an integer value. That's it. Third point. What about this third point here? Pointer variables required static memory allocation, whereas reference variables required dynamic memory allocation. In general, one more point here I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Fourth one is what? Pointer variables are recognized by compilers, whereas reference variables are recognized by JVM at runtime. That means pointer variables are created at compilation time, but whereas reference variables are created at runtime in the case of Java, that you know already. Runtime. Right, guys. Now these are the various differences here we can understand clearly. Okay, finally, one more topic is completed, guys. Then one more point is completed. That important point we completed about pointer variables. So pointers are existed in C and C++, but pointers are not existed in Java. Tell me overall, how many differences we completed? Overall, how many differences we completed? 4 differences we completed or not? What is that? What are the 4 differences here we completed there? First one is what? C and C++ are static programming languages, whereas Java is what? Dynamic programming language. Second one is what? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but whereas preprocessor is not required in Java. What is third one here? C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, whereas Java is what? Platform independent programming language. What is this fourth point here? Pointers are exist in C and C++, but pointers are not exist in Java. At least if any interviewer is asking the question like, tell me the differences between Java and others. If we are getting this question, at least we have to talk about all these points. You need to talk about all these points. Okay. That's fine, guys. Then better what I'm telling to you, everybody should take material. If you take material tomorrow onwards, I will not go for dictation. Better take it. I think so. Then 450 rupees is the cost for this material. Nearly 800 plus pages of document is available. So try to just as a Xerox cost only, not any other one. So try to take that material. If you take that material, inside the material, everything I have written. So I will stop giving dictation part inside the classes there. If you take that material, so then after that, I will put more concentration on explanation. Why? Because every day we are covering only one difference. But if you are understanding the if you are not dictating the content here, 2 to 3 differences I can complete in a single class. So we are able to speed up the content here. So that will be good thing for us. Why? Because we are able to reduce the total course duration. Why? Because Java is a vast. Then to complete the Java is a difficult task for us. But if you go with this much of slow mode, it's somewhat time, extra time it will take now. So because of that reason, try to take that materials, it will be good. I think so today some materials are available, but tomorrow definitely all the materials will be available for you. Try to collect it. Then after that, I will go over, I'll put concentration on explanation maximum instead of dictating the content, guys. Right? Is it clear to all of you know? Or still if you are expecting dictation, then I will go for it, but it is unnecessary for us. It's a time taking process, right? Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow we have session. Tomorrow is Saturday, I think so, right? Tomorrow also we have session, and Sunday we will get a half. Tomorrow we have session. Come to the classes. Thank you. Thank you guys. And for online students, that material is available as a soft copy. Then try to contact with our admin people. Okay. Thank you.